You're listening to Data Center Therapy. Please take a number, and an engineer will be right with you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Data Center Therapy, a podcast from Ivoxy Consulting that talks all things IT with a healthy dose of empathy. I'm your host, Matt. Am I Matt Yette? I might be.
I'm pretty sure you are.
A virtual iteration of Matt Yette.
Oh, which version? How far down that rabbit hole have you gone, Matt?
I am Matt Yette 2.0, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Matt Cozzolino. Matt, how are you?
I'm great this morning. How are you doing?
Good. If all goes well, people may also be watching us on YouTube. So hello. If it's a catastrophic failure, just hearing us say hello, and we blew it. And the video will be up maybe next episode.
Right.
So we're trying something new here. But it's on a topic today that we've chatted about, we've talked about, but we've never really deep dove into it. And I don't know if you want to call this a deep dive, but it's certainly in the news nowadays. And
it is.
I think maybe the best way to kind of categorize it is AI and the Metaverse.
AI.
Right?
But what does that mean?
Well, the whole AI ML thing, I got to tell you, I got a little bit of a beef there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying AI is worthless. I want to put that disclaimer out there. Clearly,
it serves a purpose. It's a tool. It can do good things.
Models, these neural but ultimately, I think you're seeing what's happening. Well, let me pose it to you this way. Do you think Tesla will ever have a 100% non-interactive self-driving vehicle?
I think that will happen. I don't know if Tesla will be the first one there, but I think we'll get there.
And I guess that's my question. Will someone get there? And I just use Tesla because that has been their stated goal. They keep charging, they keep bumping the price for their full autonomous. It's now $12,000 add-on if you want.
I would love to address just traffic that way. I don't want to have to drive anymore, honestly.
But would you pay a company $12,000 for the promise of fixing all their bugs eventually?
Well,
what are the chances you're going to get it?
Well, that goes into a bit of a different. I feel like that goes into a bit of a different thing where, like, I want to buy something and I want to own it. I don't want to perpetually lease all of these things forever and ever. Right?
Be careful what you ask for, Kaz, with your everybody self-driving, no traffic, this and that, because I think that turns into the old little boxes, little ants marching kind of, pay your.
Was that Will Smith movie? With the Will Smith movie with the robots. Was that iRobot? Yeah,
iRobot. Yeah,
that kind of freeway. Yeah, that kind of freeway. I could get behind that.
Okay.
Right?
I'll see you in a few hundred years, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll go with the Fifth Element style, flying cabs through the air in different lanes.
Okay.
No, but here, my point on the Tesla / full autonomous, I don't think you will.
No.
Will you ever get to the point where human nuance and interaction is completely unnecessary, where every single situation is perfectly executed?
So I think that's a little bit different. There will always be potential for, here's the manual driving mode, right? But my biggest gripe about driving today is people.
The other people
not being consistent and not doing what I'd expect them to do at this four-way stop, or this, you don't actually have a stop sign, right? So. Yep. So the benefit there is that the automatic car, the auto driving car, will always do the same bloody thing every single freaking time.
Because you're thinking every car's got to get off the road. Every human driver has to get off the road. But you also then just said there is a manual mode, this and that. But what you're basically posturing is, yeah, that's possible if every single car was autonomous and talking to each other.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. You mean Matt Cozzolino, who's out there to do damage in his manual mode car, can completely be avoided by automation and algorithms?
No. So I don't think that there's the need to have it be 100%, right? It doesn't have to be completely perfect. It has to be better than humans.
I would agree with that, Kaz, but we are currently in a time now where any death is unacceptable. And looking at numbers that might match up with a flu season or this and that is all of a sudden, holy crap, we have to go back to this moment before March 2020 where nobody died. It's this weird thing where when you go to automation, humans are going to have deaths, right? Humans are going to cause car accidents, and look at the numbers. But I think the second you look at a Tesla crash, lawsuits up the wazoo.
Well, there's going to be that. That's going to have to happen.
There's going to be that, but I think the tolerance for it is way lower when it's an automated system, maybe. You can put your finger on that pretty well, litigiously. You can put your finger on that, like we don't have to like it. But I think the tolerance for loss of life in that situation just goes way down. And hey, if I'm not going to drive my car, shouldn't we at least be safer? I can see that argument. So that's where I think that they have to be close to perfect. And if they're not, it all falls apart. I use the same trope. Dragon Naturally Speaking in 1995 with that jackass microphone that came in the box and the CD-ROM, and it was 95% there. Wow! Here we are 30 years later.
I think that everything is a little gray, right? There is nothing in the world, nothing in the universe is black and white. I guess you could say some things are, but like
the color black, for example.
Well, even that, there's like shades of black, right? But no, more along the lines of don't let the perfect decision, the perfect thing late be the
Don't let perfection be the enemy of good enough.
Yeah, right? And that's the thing, is I think we can get good enough. I think there will be some growing pains, some learning, some all of that stuff. I mean, do you know what that looked like when cars first came out? I mean, this argument that you have right now is the same kind of thing, right? As like, why are these cars? Why not horseless carriage or horse-drawn carriages? Or why are all these humans walking around in the middle of the street when I'm trying to drive my vehicle down there, right?
Well, and I guess there is the argument of what do you consider progress? And I would say, do I consider an internal combustion engine and the wheel progress over a horse-drawn buggy or whatever, right? Then, I mean, I think that's objective. Of course, put yourself in that situation, and it's easy to say now, looking back.
Right.
Do I consider AI and the current quality of automated systems and voice assistants, et cetera, to trust with my life? I mean, I'll still be eating a Cheez-It, and I hear Siri go, like, who summoned you, dummy? Like, nobody. That kind of thing really rattles me.
But right, and that's my point there, actually, is you and I have both grown up in a world where internal combustion engines and cars have existed and all of the rules have been in place for them for the entirety of our lives.
Sure.
Right, so we haven't gone through that transition from, hey, let me hop on my horse and go into town and get some flour, to let me hop in the car and go get some eggs from Safeway. We haven't had that transition, and this is the example of that transition. It's I mean, the world keeps marching forward. Everything keeps changing. I guess it's if you feel like change is good for change's sake, or if it's actually better change. That's, I think, a big part of this argument. The internet was supposed to... So how do we get everyone pulling in the same direction? What is that direction?
I would also think everyone pulling in the same direction is against an individualist point of view, too. So you're not going to get that by rule.
No?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'd like to think that we can look at cars and say, traffic is going to be 1,000 times better if all of these things can work together and we can zipper merge onto the freeway and zipper merge off of the freeway and...
Yep.
Right?
I agree. I also will comment that I think Washington State drivers are the worst drivers, at least east to west on I-90, coast to coast. Washington State. And so I've made that drive. So I'm originally from New York, right? And not the city, but upstate, where, there's certainly not as much traffic as out here. And I've done the back and forth a few times. And I swear, it's like someone throws a master switch when I cross the border into Washington. I'm not joking.
No?
It's weird. You could take all the road signs away, welcome to Idaho or whatever, but when you've crossed the state line, wait a minute, sanity has returned to the road. I'm out of Washington. And You're right. It's frustrating, but I'd rather have educated drivers than numbed up drivers taking a nap while their autonomous vehicle rams into me because of a software bug written by a college script kiddie.
Sure. I mean, and so I think that's
a pessimistic view.
That's right, and I think that's the thing is I don't think you're going to have that blatantly obvious things happen. If something happens, it'll be an edge case, and there will be a investigation. There will be something looking at it. And I think the benefit of seeing the Tesla pull up to the four-way stop and know that it's going to do the same bloody thing every single freaking time, it far outweighs the I couldn't tell whether this was an exit ramp or not an exit ramp and something got screwed up.
Do you think you will see fully autonomous driving in your lifetime?
I freaking hope so. I already hate driving. I mean, I
You don't
like it.
driving, huh?
I like it. I used to like it. I really loved driving it, and driving growing up. I had a manual transmission. It was great. Getting
Yes.
on the freeway in my GTI
Sure.
and running through all the sixth gears. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. But
But
nowadays,
what I'm saying is that
man.
your point about, and we're getting kind of into like political philosophies here, which is funny, but your point about if everybody's rowing in the same direction, wouldn't it be nice? Utopia version. Yeah, sure. I'm over here on the reality island, and I will, not to pick on you too much, but I'll say that free market wise, a demand will be provided a supply. You know what I mean? So you will have still people who will cater to people who want manual transmissions. They will, if there is a demand, they will never cease to exist. I'll say that, right? It might not be the mainstream. It might not be the bulk of the vehicles out there. But thankfully for the people who are, enthusiasts or whatever, those communities will still exist too, which is good, right? That's what we want. We don't want them, the loss of that kind of stuff, because it's fun to, like you said, send it through the gears.
And it has a place. I think like a lot of that ends up being the Department of Transportation saying this is how you have to behave. This is how you have to react to the things that happen, and the follow up you have to do for the things that have happened, the crashes and whatnot. Right?
Tell me more things that make me happy than somebody like the DOT telling me what to do.
Well, I mean, it's not you, it's Tesla, right? This is what Tesla has to do to make these things happen, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't
It's the
think
same
so.
way. That's the same way we got seatbelts in the cars and airbags and crumple zones and all of that stuff.
Sure.
And those are those are subjectively safer than not having them.
I would say you mean objectively.
I meant objectively, yes.
Yeah, without qualification. I don't think it's going to happen. And you know what? I wish it did happen, or wish it could happen, because I will say this: the option is nice, and I fear that the perfect implementation or near perfect would remove the option. So, but let's live in a perfect world. I love the ability to, I'm in traffic, nap button, chair turns around, lays down, or I got stuff to do. I've got a call to be on, and I also need to reference notes. I don't need eyes forward, button, go. Those are, now, I mean, we're assuming we're back to a world where, in-person stuff's common, so your traffic is a thing, right?
Sure.
Not that it's not a thing, but a lot
I
of
mean,
our
hell,
meters are.
everyone going to the same football game, hockey game, right? There's.
I mean, being able to just be productive, whether that's rest or work, during a commute, that is amazing. And I suppose if you're into public transportation, some of that, I wouldn't know about napping, but you can maybe get some work done. A light rail, things like that.
That's every time I've traveled. That's actually one of the things I've very much enjoyed doing is not renting a car, not getting it. Let me hop on the bus. Let me hop on the train. Right. If I'm going to spend an hour in traffic, let me do it and be able to not have my brain on and engaged. And I think that's the other one that that isn't necessarily seen is like me looking forward and then looking this way for a second and then looking back forward. That is a loss of attention to the things that are happening in front of me.
Sure.
Period. And that won't happen in a fully autonomous vehicle. Doesn't happen. It can't. It's the way it works. It never blinks, right?
It never blinks, but right now it still requires your attention. Now, if you look away and then look back up, it's fine. There's a buffer, but from what I understand, you need to still have hands on wheel, and we're still there. Which, if I have to have hands on wheels and eyes forward, that really takes a bit of the magic away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I know it's doing it, but I'm still forced to play driver.
Right. I think there's maybe this comes from like the ski patrol stuff where I do where I will show up and be supervisor or assistant for a scene that's happening, and I'm not doing hands-on patient care so much as I'm facilitating the person doing hands-on patient care. So I feel like that's a similar thing, is I'm not doing the driving so much as I'm facilitating doing the driving.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
I guess it just takes a little bit of the shine off. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if?
Uh-huh.
And let's say, yeah, it's fully autonomous, but you still have to do those things. Why don't I just, you know what? Why don't you let me handle this guy? And I'll just let me.
Well, it's a trade-off, right? Stop and go traffic.
I don't want trade-offs, Cozzo. I want it all, baby.
You want perfection, right? Perfection at the.
Why wouldn't you?
Totally.
Well, that takes us to the kind of, well, this goes into it, but speaking of, wouldn't it be perfect if you could just wave your wand and certain things would disappear? And I'm going to move on to our good old friend Facebook. Now, I realize that I probably will never get a job with Facebook thanks to this episode, if I ever cared to. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
The recently renamed Meta, because don't all great companies after a fiasco just change their name and say, promise it's not us, we're good now?
Yeah. No, that was that other company over there.
Yeah, but I do think the Meta name is a good choice.
Is it?
Actually, it's, it's catchy. It doesn't have anything to do with Facebook in terms of phonetically or with letters or, and with their evil goals and operating goals, they, it fits. It fits.
Okay.
It's the real life E-Core. Yeah.
Okay.
E-Core. Evil Core.
E-Core. E-Corp.
So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, so you are not on Facebook, right, Matt?
I am a Facebook hipster. I stopped Facebook over a decade ago.
Before it was cool to stop Facebook.
I'd stopped Facebooking before it was cool to stop Facebooking.
And like I am typically behind fashion trends by like 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. I thusly closed my Facebook last year. Mm-hmm. Again, a couple years after it became fashionable, but still happy that I'm wearing these cool sneaks now, kind of thing. So Metaverse, the only thing I think when I hear Metaverse is Ready Player One.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I was doing a little bit of looking. Is that their, and it sounds like from what I was seeing, is that's their goal, is they want VR, they want all of this stuff in this online virtual environment?
The way I also think of it too is it's Second Life, but with the goggles, right? With the sensory stuff. It's VR taken to the most encompassing, immersive experience. That's fine, but a company of this magnitude, it's scary because you're kind of like, go ahead and fiddle with that. Yeah, good luck. At the same time, they've got the resources to really be. They have not used their power for good up to this point. Let's say that.
No.
And one, we can all sit here and I can hope that the metaverse becomes the latest 3D in movies fad. and it does.
I went to the movies and my eyes hurt, so screw that. I'm not going back. That kind of thing.
And then give it 15 years, you'll all forget what a bad idea this is, and we'll try it again. And it kind of is how the cycle goes.
Right.
And that's okay because each time it iterates and there's a little bit of progress. And what did I see in 3D a few years ago? Everest. Did you see that movie?
I don't think I've seen that movie at all. I know.
Josh Brolin,
I've seen it show up. Yeah.
Some good actors anyway.
Okay.
And it is a true story. It's got Gyllenhaal in it briefly. It's about that one team in the mid '90s, and they lost like 18 people. It was tragic, but it was on Everest, and the 3D. It was actually a complementary effect. It wasn't like, wow, go see things pop out and then X thrown at you, and it was like the snow was off the screen in your field of view.
Right.
That was super good. That was super cool use of it.
Subtle, right?
Right. And that was kind of when I was playing a few more video games when the Xbox One came out in 2013.
Oh, has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah. So they're on the next version now. But there was some talk of them. I can't remember what they called it, but it was basically a projector that you put in the center of your room, and it would basically turn on and scan your room, walls, pictures, bookshelves, objects, tables.
That was the Kinect.
Yeah. So
or it went with the Kinect.
It went with, or it had its own Kinect, and then what happened is the projector then then projected complementary, or maybe supplementary is the word, light to effectively counter or negate and expand the world against. It's not expecting just white walls. It's, you know,
that's kind of like the backlighting on your TV screen for the movies that makes it red over
similar,
here.
But a scale around the
room encompassing.
That's a way to kind of bring VR, that kind of virtualizes reality to your existing space without you donning a headset.
That's augmented reality at that point, right?
And I think that is maybe the end. Nothing is the end game, right? Everything keeps evolving and changing, but ultimately, I think that is the most practical use of technology.
Yeah.
You know, Apple, the rumors. I mean, it's all the rumor stuff, but they've got their own goggles coming out, and they're supposed to be AR, VR, and I mean, they've got the Oculus, and there are people who are into the community, but we popped down to, what was it, Virtual Sports for one of our company meetings a couple of years back.
Yep.
And, you know, I did the VR games, but to me, it is so encumbering. It is so...
There's a strange disconnect between this world you're in and the physical environment you still exist in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And let's go all the way to Ready Player One. If you can wear a suit that can somehow simulate deeper than skin sensations all over your body, and you have the tactile feedback where if I go pick up that donut in the VR world, I feel a squishy object in my... I don't know how you do it, like motors in a glove, like tension.
Haptic feedback, all of that stuff,
Let's say all of that gets to the point where it is not only feasible, but somehow affordable by a decent amount of people. Yeah, maybe. But other than that, it's just this disorienting thing. Like my drone, you can buy a set of goggles. I haven't tried it yet. That seems cool. You can technically fly because you can. And I hear people, they're putting on YouTube, they're puking.
I think it's got a place. I don't know that it's going to be everything. I think I agree with the augmented reality concept, bringing people together for a meeting from across the world and having the conference room, kind of like Cisco has been talking about for forever.
The next version of telepresence.
Yeah, you can see person sitting in the seat, and then you take your glasses off, and the seat's actually empty. That kind of a thing. That seems more reasonable, more useful than.
So
like,
if I jump
here's
out
this
of the
entire
table
world
with the glasses on and try to wring the neck, does it actually go around the virtual neck, or is it just, do I just hit air?
I mean, I figure you'd like fly through the hologram and it'd do a cool FX thing, like
or like
Marvel
the person
or whatever.
who I'm going after would see me coming after them, like ostensibly that'd be the case.
Ostensibly that'd be the case,
So
and they
you
go,
have,
"Oh
like,
God!" and you'd fly right through them, right?
Virtual boxing matches where you just hit nothing but air, but I hear, I threw my shoulder out. Okay.
I don't know. There's just so much real world that has to exist. There's so much stuff out in the actual real world that I don't think we're going to do that unless maybe we're like, I don't know, some spacefaring whatever that we're all living in a box and there is nothing else, right?
You mean then we're Duracell batteries powering the machines?
That kind of context. There's Galaxy's Edge. I was reading the Savages. Their component thing where they're, bazillions of years in the future and we're all stuck in this box and everyone's dying because we don't have the resources. So let's just detach the brain and make it this digital world. That's a solution for there. But we are so far out there.
Well, you look at what the internet was heralded to usher in, and ultimately, maybe probably the greatest invention of our lifetime, Kaz, the internet, and like anything, good can be made for evil. Pardon me, unfortunately, but I feel like the idea of the internet, and then Facebook, virtual town squares and the zeitgeist, and just conversation and communication. And I just feel it may have been, the late 90s, early 2000s may have been, seeing what this is all about, seeing what we can do here. And then Facebook just kind of, I don't know. I got to say, if Facebook went away tomorrow, poof, humanity on the whole probably improves. We can still communicate. It's just, I hate to put such a crusade bent on it, right? I'm not like here. This episode is not titled "Bash Facebook." It's not my point.
I think it's broader than Facebook, right? The issues, the classic issues that you have with Facebook
Twitter
that
and
are
on
with
that
Facebook.
bonfire.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, but you've also got the top, like you've got celebrity worship that somehow, because someone's famous, their opinion on all number of manners is somehow authoritative. And now, at the same time, as free human beings, they can have any opinion they want. It's just this somehow attaching meaning to it for no other reason than they had 8 million views on a TikTok video. Never seen TikTok, by the way. I stand by that.
I don't. I see these things pop up and I feel like an old grumpy man. Like, get off my lawn. I don't get this. It's so weird.
Yeah. And
what is it, Mr. Burns? It's not me that. No, it's the teacher from
who's the
Simpsons.
I don't know the Simpsons. I mean, I know the Simpsons.
Neither do I. I've seen just enough of them.
Yeah.
He's like, are these kids out of? No, it's me who's out of touch. No, it's these kids who are out of touch.
Well, I just know the old man yells at cloud meme from the
There you
Simpsons.
go.
That one,
There
yeah,
you
that's
go.
common. But yeah, and so the metaverse, again, the only thing I can think the end game is the Ready Player One, and I think about the concepts that we live in our job, in our lives, and I think about latency and bandwidth and processing power and parallel processing power, and I go back to latency personally, in that, you know, the speed of light is a physical limit. And
It's a constant. It doesn't change. Yep.
so, you know, a ping to Australia under best circumstances is in the order of 200 to 300 milliseconds from the West Coast USA. Now, maybe you get some more fiber, but ultimately that fiber is still pretty dang long with its, you know, end-to-end repeaters and all that. But let's say somehow you get together the most massive parallel processing. I mean, you could throw together all of Azure, and I imagine that you still couldn't generate what you see in Ready Player One from a user state and you know, generating the pixels, the polygons, whatever the assets. You've seen the movie, right? This would be really stupid if you hadn't seen it.
No, I've seen it. I don't think that's. I think you're getting two things mixed up there. That rendering doesn't happen on the server farm. That rendering happens locally, right? All you have to do is say, hey, this thing is flying that way, or hey, this thing is over there.
Right.
Here's
I'm saying
this
keeping
asset.
everything- Yeah. Keeping all of the objects and all of the status of everything that everybody else is interacting with. And this is not an AI like in Call of Duty where when an action is programmed to happen, everything that goes with it is already known, right? And packaged up. This is a user who's controlling something, doing something that is unpredictable until it happens, and then has to be transmitted to everybody else in that arena that might be from all over the globe.
I think we've already solved like that component of it with MMOs, right? I don't see that as a
MMOs with the addition of force feedback of the entire body, interaction with two players with physical feedback, and the fidelity of that. The graphical fidelity.
I mean, once you get so if I've got a digital avatar, once I get my digital avatar defined, I just have to give that to you once, right? And then I just have to tell your system that I raised my arm.
Yeah.
Right? There's not a lot of data moving back and forth. The latency is an issue, right? I do this and you see it half a second later. That makes a difference. But that's not processing. That's just data getting from point A to point B.
No, I see what you mean there, right? Basically, your game runs and you just send the instructions of what you're doing to a centralized location or peer-to-peer. Sure. You're scaring me now. I'm going to unplug my computer and just come back. But I just... I feel like Facebook has taken everything that it's done and been shown and exposed to be negatively, and now they're just saying, F it, triple down.
Yep.
Triple down.
Yep.
And we're going to create a world that has its own rules, or not like they're already operating on their own rules, but you know, I might be a little old for the people clamoring for this. Let's put it that way. So I don't necessarily know if there's anybody really diving for this, but I now have a 2-month-old daughter who ain't going to be in the metaverse. I'll tell you that right now. And hopefully my technical chops will stay up, or I can still maintain the security on my. Who knows? I think about that. When 12, 14, 16 comes around, what is going to be the iPhone that I have to lock down? And what is the internet that it's going to be connecting to looking like? No fun. But Facebook will be part of it.
TCP's been around for a long time, and that hasn't... I mean, we don't have any major changes there, right?
Yeah. I mean, IPv6, laying on top of that makes a little bit of a difference, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, the metaverse. Here's the thing too. Am I going to buy a headset to go see what this is all about so I can really speak to it a little more authoritatively? No.
I mean, I've thought about that. Like,
I looked at the HP Vive, I think Vive it's called, and then the Oculus that Facebook bought, and
I personally refuse to buy anything Facebook.
I would agree with you.
Nope.
Has anybody ever bought, what do they call it, the Facebook, what's the little window spy camera screen thing? They sell like an Echo Show.
Okay.
They sell a Facebook creeper box, and they show the mom. I think one of their commercials, they got a guy or a girl got a date coming over for a first date, and they're cooking dinner, and they got mom and dad on it, and they're giving them advice and this and that, and they're cooking, and then it's like, then basically at the end it shows Zuckerberg going like, no, the lizard man showing up and saying, I'm watching you, or whatever. Facebook family love. Yeah, they make their own thing. I wonder if anybody on this planet has ever bought one of those.
I assume so.
I want to crack their head open
somehow.
and examine their brain, if so.
I mean, honestly though, that's not any different than Alexa or Google or Siri or they're all working basically the same way, man.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Let's be careful there, because up to this point, it has been shown that there is no advertising or profiling nefarious side purpose of Siri. It's just objectively terrible, but it's not nefarious. Alexa and all of this, they're listening to absolutely everything you're saying, and it's all being recorded.
Right. And so there's nothing. So my comment is they're fundamentally operating in the same way. Right? Just because you choose not to turn the thing on doesn't mean you have that ability to do that. Right?
Agree. And that's where I started with, up to this point, there has been nothing to show. And if that changes, then my opinion certainly would too. No question about it. Yeah. I just had a bunch of Alexa stuff that I gave to my father for Christmas, because I had it based on various like gifts and stuff. And I just like, here you go, Dad, you already have it, so you might as well have it. Got him a picture frame, a smart picture frame that you basically just email pictures to. And I know that's been around for a while, but this one, they really like it. 10 inches.
Who was it?
The picture frame?
Nix? Yeah.
It is a skylight.
Skylight. Okay. I got one of those a couple of years ago for my mom and dad.
Nix, I looked at the Nix too.
Yep. That's the one I would in, yeah.
For a short minute, tried to explore, is video a good idea? And then I came to the conclusion that no, video is not a great idea. That narrows your options considerably. And think about what with a video. Do you want sound? It's distracting. These are good quality screens, so they could be throwing random light with motion like a TV does against the wall. So, like, that's why most of them don't do it, because I don't think it's ultimately something that people want.
Yeah, I could see it being something like, I think that would be neat if it was similar to Harry Potter with the art, where it's just a dude standing there waving, and then standing there waving.
And again, I only use Apple products or whatever because I have ended up, I've said this before, it's what works well for me, right? And decreasingly so. But anyway, the live photos that I believe, invented, and now they've got them on Android too. One of the nicer, like, not major feature things, but one of those magical touches that just, that's what a natural extension of a still photo. And so the live photographs, I absolutely love them. And then you can hold them and you get the 3 seconds. Or if you're swiping through, you get just a bit of the motion on every single picture as you swipe through. It is the Harry Potter effect, more or less. And that's a good idea, like a live photo frame.
Right. So that kind of thing, where it's like, here's the picture of the whatever happening. Here's us at the beach and we wave for a second. Here's the photo of this. That's kind of what I'm right. That would be that's kind of video. I mean, technically it's moving picture, right?
And
that's
so
video.
If Google designs it, you'll end up having it over-engineered, and it will just end up being a bunch of GIFs sitting there loading when it switches between them, and then there they go.
Maybe.
I like that. I like that. All right, Kaz, I know you've got a jet. So
I do.
I feel like we could really keep on going about this. So maybe we pin Facebook to the mat in a part 2 of this at some point.
Yeah.
But hopefully all the video goes off well. I guess we'll see. But yeah, we've got a couple of new episodes coming up too that we're eager to record. We've got a new security consultant.
We do. I'm excited about that.
Yes.
Already got some work to do there.
Absolutely. Quentin Barber has joined us. Check him out on LinkedIn if you are not familiar. And we're just excited because we've got a lot of exciting, cool stuff coming from the security arena, and how we can protect ourselves against the various, ransomware and all that practical stuff. And I'm not saying that security planning is not practical, because practical security is beget by operational security in terms of planning and taking a standardized approach, and all of that is being addressed. That's what I'm excited about.
Yep.
We're going there.
It's a bigger plan. There's way more than just here's this thing.
Here's this product and it fixes you. That doesn't exist.
It's an onion. It's Shrek. It's got layers.
Matt, it's always good to chat with you. Thanks, buddy.
You too.
We'll catch you all later. Thanks for listening to Data Center Therapy, and we'll catch you on the flip
Have
side.
a good one. See you next time.
Catch you in the Metaverse.